guys. So it's Monday morning, about 6:30 a.m. The sun should be coming up soon. The weather is not cooperating. I was hoping to spray this yesterday like I did and put it outside, but I couldn't do that because it was snowing. And it snowed all freaking day and most of the night. Not a lot of snow, but it was snowing. And you can't put fresh paint out in that. So it stayed in here overnight with the heat going, and I've got a few runs and stuff. I actually kind of made a mess of the front fender, so that's the biggest part. I'm gonna tackle that first until it warms up. The problem is the next job is sitting in the driveway waiting to come in. It's a rush job because he has a delivery service and he uses his truck for deliveries. Well, he can't deliver if the truck is here. So yeah, I got to get after that. So at some point today, that's got to come in here. But until it warms up, I'm going to take the morning, I guess, and at least get that fender done. Maybe one of the quarters. There's small runs in the quarters, nothing bad, but the front fender is a bit of a mess. So anyway, we're going to sand out some runs. I'll show you that, and yeah, we'll just carry on. So stick around. We're going to have fun. Yeah, right. All right, so here's the front fender. Now you probably can't see it on camera, but I'll help you along to see it. I've got a huge run that runs all the way across, right across the whole front of the fender, and another one just above it. So, might as well start with the top one. We'll take a Sharpie. And we'll mark it out. So, now the key here is this. It's a piece of steel. Okay, so it's flat. It doesn't give, doesn't bend, it's not spongy. And this is what you want to sand a run out with. Something with no give. So I got some hot soapy water. I'm using 1000 to start, which is pretty aggressive for fresh paint. I need a clean rag. So I think you can start to see the run here, the shape of it. And once all the black from the Sharpie is off, you're done. And I know there's lots of clear on here because, well, if there wasn't, it wouldn't have run. It's coming out pretty good so far. And then once I get through it with the 1000, I'm going to bring it all the way up to 3000 once the whole fender is sanded in, and then it's ready to polish. Anyway, I'm going to carry on, and we'll be back when I get more of this done. Alright, so you can see how most of the Sharpies disappeared. I mean, it was from here up to here. Just a little bit left to do. Being stubborn right here. I'm gonna try a fresh piece. Almost there. Come on. Down to one little dot. Alright, there we go. So I'm going to carry on with this. I've got it runs all the way down here. And just the same method. Use the Sharpie to show it, highlight it, and then sand it out until the Sharpie is gone. So there you go. I wanted to show you how bad this actually was. So that's a pretty significant run. Oh, I even missed a spot. Anyhow, so just gonna do this, sand all this right out. There's a couple of runs in the rear quarters as well, but not near as bad as this. So once this one is done, we've got the worst of it handled. So there's just small ones in the quarters, no big deal. But yeah, this is pretty nasty. I can't remember, did I spray this or did I just like pour the clear on? It's hard to tell. Anyway, we'll get after it and get her done. All right, so all the Sharpie is gone, and so are all the runs. So I also carried it over a little bit further down, knocked down some of the orange peel. So now I can go over it with 2000 and eventually 3, and we'll hit it with the buffer. So I'm going to go ahead and get the runs out of the quarters and call this thing just about ready to go. There you go. Morning, guys. So I know that looked like the previous clip, that is, looked like it was the driver's side fender. It is not. It's the passenger side. I use my phone as my camera, and it was in selfie mode, so it's a mirror image. So it is a passenger side fender. So yeah, I didn't throw an extra fender in there for nothing. So anyway, when this thing was all masked off, and I just finished painting it, I took a couple of pictures and sent them to the owner. And he had asked me, did you get that spot on the lift gate, you know, in the back? And I know he had mentioned it before. I didn't notice it. I didn't even look. I expected to see a little speck or something like that maybe I could just dab in with a brush and a little bit of clear and then, you know, buff it out. No. When I unmasked it, it's about that long, about the width of the license plate, actually. Below the license plate, right at the bottom of the lift gate, it's all bubbled up. So now the freaking thing is painted, it's all wet sanded, almost ready to buff, and I gotta strip that, rust converter, a little bit of body filler, primer, and paint it. Sucks, but whatever. So I talked to him last night. I said, you know, I'm gonna need at least an extra day, and he had made an appointment to bring the car in for front end alignment or whatever. So I thought about it, and my buddy came by, and I was telling him, you know, geez, I got this freaking Dodge, I got to get started. I want to get that Cadillac out of here and whatever. He said, look, give him a call and just, you know, tell him you need a little bit more time, or he can take it now and bring it back and get that done. So I did call him back. He canceled his appointment. So the Cadillac's still here. I'm going to go ahead and get after that, while at the same time I'm still working on this Dodge. This guy's has a courier deal, so this is how he makes his living, so he needs this. So yeah, I got to do both at the same time, but I'm going to keep the video separate. So this will be just Cadillac. The Dodge videos will be on their own. So anyway, we'll go check out what's going on with this Caddy and get after it. I'm going to be back and forth. I got drying time in between and whatever. So yeah, it is what it is. Welcome to Dirty Dan's Garage. another clusterfuck. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's get after it. All right, so here's the area. You can see how it's all bubbled up. So it goes from about here to about here. I think my best bet is to use this line all the way and just paint that whole bottom strip. It'll be same-ish kind of color, but because it's, you know, it's got a different angle, it shouldn't show too bad. But so I'm going to go ahead, strip that, get it down to metal, hit it with rust converter, and then we're going to let it sit until it dries up, and we'll prep it and paint it. So I'll have to mask this thing off and do whatever, but pain in the ass. Anyway, we'll get her done. Okay, so you can see how black that's turning. That's because there's rust in that there metal. It's a design flaw, actually. There's a drain hole. Right, well, I'll show you. So today was supposed to be 13 and cloudy. Anyway, so there's a drain hole right here, and you can see how the water is just going right into the seam. So it you know, what the hell, what brilliant engineer came up with that one? Anyway, so we're gonna let that dry. It's not 13, which is about 55 degrees. It's 4, which is 39 degrees. And actually it's been pissing off and on, so obviously I'm not going to be able to lay any paint on that, not in the rain. But If it does clear up a little bit, we'll get after it. If not, it's just gonna have to wait. So there's my Pooch, my dog. Hey, Pooches. Yeah, it's Halloween and trick-or-treaters are knocking on the door. My son's alone in the house handing out candy, and you can't hold her back. So she just wants to, you know, play around with every kid that comes to the door, and she just goes ballistic. So so I brought her out here till the trick-or-treaters are done, and give my kid a break. Anyway, the Cadillac's back in the house, and I've got to do a little bit of buffing on it, and I've got to blow in this area here. It's in primer right now, and like I said, I'm just going to follow this line and do that whole strip. So anyway, it needs a little bit more sanding, excuse me. Anyhow, that's where I'm at. So this thing is soaking wet. It was out in the freaking monsoon all day. I brought it in as soon as the Dodge left. So we'll let it dry off, and we'll get after it. Okay, so my plan was, after I brought this thing in, was to sand and shoot this in with paint last night. So I started sanding on it, and I could still feel a couple of little bubbles right here. So I grabbed my little angle sander and with a twist-on disc on it, and I just touched it there for about 2 seconds, and it went right through. So it ended up being a hole about this big, 2 inches long, right in the middle of this piece here. So I didn't want to get into welding a patch and everything in there. There's sound dead, there's all kinds of crap going on here. So anyway, what I ended up doing was I used some panel bond, a little bit of kitty hair. First I soaked it with rust converter. Anyway, then I did some panel bond and a little bit of kitty hair, some body filler, and reprimed it. And that's where I'm at now. So I'm going to pull this top piece of paper and masking tape off, sand this out, and remask it, and then shoot it with paint, and then call it done. All I have to do after that is just buff out the spots, the 2 quarters and the front fender, put some pieces back on like the tail lights, etc., and call it done. So that's where I'm at. Okay, so I've done my base. I've done 2 coats of pearl. But when this thing was sitting outside, I found that the paint that I'm putting on is actually, it's off color a little bit. It's got a little bit more yellow in it than the original paint. So I'm going to try and mellow that out by giving it an extra coat of pearl. Hopefully take some of that yellowness out. And what's on there already is on there. There's nothing I can do about that. But hopefully I can make this look like it's supposed to look. So yeah, 1 more coat of pearl and then clear coat it. Hopefully that does the trick. Alright, so I'm ready to just lay my first coat of clear. And in case you're wondering, yes, there is going to be a hard line there where the clear is, where it butts up to the other finish, which is why I left it right on that edge. If it shows too much, I'll soften it with a piece of sandpaper and buff it out, but it's down low, it's right on an edge already, so I think we'll be okay, and it's a lot better than bubbling rust. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get that clear on there. Go ahead and hit that with a second, and we're just ready to do some buffing, and we're done. Okay, so there's a bit of a line there, but yeah, honestly, it doesn't show. It's because that's at a different angle, right? So it's kind of in a shadow, and this paint has a lot of flop to it. So yeah, I don't think I have to do anything with that. I'll just leave it the way it is, and it's good. So I'm gonna go ahead, buff out the 2/4. Shouldn't take me long. I'm gonna show you. You've seen me buff 100 things before, and I think I'm pretty much running out of time on in this video. So yeah, I'm gonna put the tail lights in. Excuse me. In the morning, and the little plastic pieces left to put on, and call it done. Ship it out. So I got the furnace cranked up now. Get that paint good and hard, and another one bites the dust. So the next one is actually sitting in the driveway right now. I'll be bringing that in when this one leaves. So there you go. Keep on rolling, man. So there you go. Don't mind the furnace running. I'm trying to bake that paint on there. You know, sometimes these things happen. When he said there was a little spot to touch up on the lift gate, I didn't even worry about it. I forgot to even look at it. And after I'd done painting the quarters, front fender, I looked at that and go, oh man. And then I thought I had it. It was just surface rust. He did as well. But no, it ended up being rusted right through. So what do you do? Anyway, fixed it. This is not one that's going to last years and years. I can tell you that right now. That rust is coming back because it's in there and it's on the inside eating its way out. So I can fix what's on the outside, but short of cutting everything out and changing all the panels, you know, and even the inner panels, like the inner door shell is all rusty too. It hasn't come through the inside yet, but it's gonna. Just the way these things are, and you know, it's a 10-year-old car. It's time to, you know, off to Shady Acres with you, off to the boneyard. But anyway, I mean, it still runs like a champ and everything else, and the interior is mint. It's a nice little car, but it's rusty. It's got cancer. It's the way it is, man. Anyway, if you like the content, please subscribe. I'm down to what? I need 193 to get to 3,000. So help me out there. I would appreciate it. And tell your chums, help spread the word. Like the page and all those good things, and don't forget to leave comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. Said the next one's in the driveway, ready to come in. So get that in here tomorrow. It's a small job, just some surface rust, I hope, on a couple of rockers. I picked up the paint for it today, so yeah, we'll just boogie on through that one. And then I guess I'll take my weekend on Monday, Tuesday. So this car has to be, the one that's out there has to be done Sunday night, because the lady is taking it out of town on Monday. So, but I think it's very doable. Anyway, you're not doing anything else? Get out in the garage and build something, man. Later, guys.